As I am on this journey of healing, something that I'm coming to think about is the picture of the world that was painted for so many of us by parents or other, you know, guardians that saw the world and people in a very specific negative way, right? And it's very interesting to kind of like reapproach that and recognize that they were painting a world for us based on their shit, right? So they were just projecting their ideas of how the world or how they think the world is or was onto us. And then as those ideas concreted themselves and hardwired themselves in our minds, it kind of unfolded our experiences of the world onto everything. Because the world is not anything, it's not this or that inherently. We experience the world solely based on how we think the world is, based on how we believe the world is, or how we feel the world is. Right? That doesn't mean that that's the way that the world actually is. That just means that that's the way that we experience it based on how we've been conditioned to see it. Right? You can convince a toddler that the world is a terrifying and scary place filled with hostile people and scarcity, and that doesn't mean it's true. It just means that that's the person's projections of their own experiences. Not to invalidate their experiences, maybe they experienced something that shaped their perspective of the world. Not that it had to do with the whole, but maybe they experienced something that shaped their perspective similarly. But then they pass that down on to their children. And the challenge here is that the world is not this or that. You're going to experience life entirely based on how you see yourself and how you've been taught to see the world, right? So consider it this way. Perception is like a filter, right? How we see the world is like a filter because it's going through this, that, and the other channel. The channel of fear, the channel of pain, the channel of shame and guilt and trauma and scarcity, right? Those are all going to shape our experiences of the world in a very specific way. And then finally we're going to be like, aha, it is that way. There's nothing but fear out there. There's nothing but terrible people. It's all scarcity. Everyone's hostile. The universe is hostile. Yeah, if you plant that into a child's mind, they're going to live a life similarly to that. But you can also recognize that the picture that you were painted of the world was just based on somebody else's idea that was questionable. It's quite possibly not accurate. And so when you take that step back and you actually look at everything and you realize, oh, I was just conditioned in this way. I was conditioned to look through windows that were too dusty and I couldn't see the picture clear enough. But once I wiped that away, oh wow, that's a gorgeous place out there. Look at that. When I think about planet Earth, I think about a paradise, despite what human beings have done to it, right? And similarly, you can apply that to people, right? A lot of people would be like, well, we've polluted ourselves. Okay, we can unpollute ourselves. It's that simple. It just takes work, it takes conscious effort, it takes elevation of conscious awareness, and that's how it works. If you guys like what I talk about here on my YouTube page, please go to my bio and click on my website, chrisspanish.com. On my website, you can find my podcast. My podcast airs every Sunday at 12 o'clock